everyone, welcome to On the Other Hand. I'm Ariane Zersher, and today I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to demonstrate my crossover die cut machine that I really love, and I wanted to just demonstrate that because until I saw it demonstrated, I really didn't see the point of it. I also am then going to demonstrate how I go about using the various shapes that I've cut with that machine, and the different ways I go about designing a small block or some of the things that you've seen me stitch on as they've sort of transformed and developed over time, and how that process works. I'm going to talk about all of that, and I hope you'll join me. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Click on the little bell to get an email notification and talk to me. I love reading your comments. You can leave anything that you want in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out the description section. That's where I leave links for everything that I use or discuss or talk about, demonstrate in this video. Let's get started. I wanted to show all of you a machine that I put off getting for a long time. It's the crossover to fabric and paper cutting system. It's a die cut, and it comes in this little nifty carry-on, and it comes with this tray that you can get a replacement for if it gets damaged, as well as this metal. You open it up and you slide your plate in here like this, and you're going to crank the handle. And if it's too hard, you release the tension by pushing this wheel, or increase the tension by pushing this wheel. Now I have put in here both wool and cotton because I wanted you to see both. And I take my plate off. So this is my 1-inch circle. This is a square. So 2 circles, a square, and I'm using just scraps. This is one of the flower dies. And so is this. And then this is my cotton, and I just wanted to show you how I could now use this to a needle turn under and have this be my flower shape. You can also do velvet. You can do paper if you want to do shapes in freezer paper, velvet, dupioni sil, pretty much anything you can think of, it's gonna cut through. Amazing tool. And I put off getting one of these because it's pricey, but when you consider all the different things that it's capable of doing, it seems well worth it. It has been for me. I'm gonna show you the different dies that you can get. So one of my favorites, hexes. You can cut out all your hexes with these dies, and just make sure that you're giving yourself a die cut that it'll include your 1/8 of an inch or however much you turn under. Here's the flower. These are more flowers and leaves. More flowers and leaves. Circles, which I use all the time. These are the squares. These are the smaller circles, and I use these so often that I actually have 2 sets so that I can line up. This is a 7/8 of an inch circle, and I can line 2 of these up at a time and put them under. Whenever I have wool scraps, this is what I do. My bigger circles, my really big circles, huge circles, and smaller circles. I'm going to show you its different components. So here's the board, and it's just a thick plastic. And then this, which you can buy if you ruin it, and it does get a little warped from use. You just flip it over. You can get a replacement sheet, and you put that down. You put whatever your material is, and then you place this on top. You can go either side. I'm going to now go and show you how I would apply some of these to a piece that I'm creating. I wanted to just talk about what one does after you do all this die cutting with all the different fabulous shapes. And then what? So I made, I did a big fabric circle, which I could needle turn under and place somewhere, a wool shape, which I could center and put maybe over my fabric shape. Then maybe I put a couple of leaves. I could cut out a print and put a print down, needle turning that down. And because this is the same shape, once I needle turn it down, it'll just be a little bit in from, and so you'll see just a little piece of the wool, and then you'll see the print. Or I could just, and this is something that Sue does often, she'll just do half. So you can cut it in half and just needle turn. The possibilities are just endless, and one can just start playing. I think sometimes when faced with just a blank piece like this, it can feel really intimidating. And I find if you just put something down and then just stitch it down, go from there. So one element gets placed down, and then I'll work with that. So for instance, this piece actually started with me showing, it was the first video that I shot to demonstrate needle turn applique for left-handed people, because there's almost no videos being made for a left-handed person on how to needle turn applique. So that's how these leaves ended up, and I left room for a stem. Then I was showing how to whip stitch, and I did a video on perfect circles and how to emboss silk velvet. And so this became my silk velvet that I embossed, and then that was put down. Then I did a video demonstrating stems, so I ruched this ribbon, and that got placed down. And then I showed the Palestrina knot, and I made that into a stem, and so then that got placed down. So little by little, this began to take shape. This piece on this lovely Jason Spargo, Sue's son, does these hand-dyed where they're a little modeled. This is his sky blue. This piece kind of took off in a similar way. I can't remember what I put down first, but I think I might have done the leaves. And then I knew I had I had to do the whipped woven and woven circle videos, so I put those down as a demonstration. And the leaves were for my whip stitching tutorial to show how to whip stitch points and irregular shapes and circles. So that sort of just got, and then I wanted to do a small circle to show how to whip stitch something very small. This came about because I was showing how to do the thorn stitch. Sometimes I'll begin with a sketch. I love this one. This is Sue's fabulous sketchbook. Writing, and then I have, a sketch. Here's just a bird idea. They're very rough. Another big flower. These were going to be little Christmas ornaments that I never got around to doing. But you can see these are not beautifully rendered drawings. They're just ideas. You just throw stuff down. The biggest thing I have found and this is, all of this is just my own personal experience. So if this doesn't help, or this isn't the way you work, just toss it all out and do what works for you. There are tons of people who are creating things, and everyone's going to have perhaps a different way of doing something, or a different way that their designs kind of come into being. And there's no wrong or right way. I have found that sometimes sketching works. So with Sue's toned down circle sampler, I started making sketches of different ideas. These were sort of more organic ideas that I had of how to use the stitches that she was incorporating. This one incorporated couching here, and I actually made this kind of rough sketch became this, where I use the open buttonhole filler stitch in the round, and then I couched the cotton ribbon floss around, and then I covered the whole thing in little French knots or colonial knots, I can't remember. But that all started from this one, this circle that I did here, this was this sketch. What I'm trying to say is that I think perfectionism, which I have in spades, is the killer. It is the thing that stops me in my tracks more often than anything else. When I become really focused on it's not perfect, it's not the way I envisioned it, which it almost never is. If I cling to these ideas, I'm going to run into a brick wall. It just really kills all creativity and forward movement. So I have to work through that desire to have things perfect. And this is something I have to battle every single day. I am challenged by that every day that I sit down and start designing something new. Which isn't to say that I don't pull things out. I do. If I don't like something, so for instance, when I was doing the thorn stitch, this piece was done in an eleganza thread, and I showed how to do the thorn stitch, and then I decided I wanted to show all of you how to do it using something a little bit off the beaten track. And so I pulled out my silk ribbon and I did that. And then I thought, I'll do a little running stitch here along the veins. And I just loved that. And then I loved it so much that I just pulled out the other over here and redid it. And that's fine. That's great. But if I decide, I twisted the ribbon here and the stitches aren't quite even and I can see it's a little... Well, then that's where I start getting in trouble. What I love about this work with wool and the stitching is that it is in its nature an organic process. And it is not going to be perfect, and I'm not going for perfection. I'm going for a kind of organic look. And to have fun. That's really the point. I hope all of this was helpful and that it gave you something to think about. And if you are designing something, to encourage you to just put just one element down and not to get too concerned with, is this right? Should I have made a different choice? Any choice is right. The other thing is that when I first start, well, of course it's not going to look like this when I'm first starting. It's going to just have a fabric leaf, and so to then be critical of that is counterproductive. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. If you want to receive an email notification, please hit the little bell icon to the right of the subscribe button. I love hearing from you, so give me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. How's the process work for you? What is this process like for you? I'd love to hear your experience of it. I'm just telling you what mine is, and we all have a different experience, and that's what's so beautiful and wonderful about all of it, is we can all have these different experiences and they're all valid. So until next time, here's to creating together.